Hello and welcome to Legally Speaking with me Tarun Nangia. Today there is a lot of curiosity among people that what is the role of forensic investigation after the introduction of the three new criminal laws, which is the Bharatiya Nyaya Sanhita and the other two laws which have been now enforced from July 1, 2024. So we have somebody who's an expert on this subject who will speak with us today. Dr. Goswami will join us today on the show, and he heads the Forensic Science College in Lucknow and also is an IPS officer. So he's got practical experience in the field and now in this institute in Lucknow, which has been set up by the UP state government, which has earned a name for itself in the past few years. So he'll talk to us about the practical policing aspect, the investigation aspect, and also what to expect in the three new criminal laws. Dr. Goswami, thank you for your time, and so happy you could make time and join us today.
Thank you, Tarun, and it is my privilege to interact with your audience. Thank you.
And at the outset, the first question would be that with the introduction of these three new criminal laws, has forensic investigation gained in importance?
Yeah, you have raised very valid and important question, because with the introduction of the three laws, particularly the BNSS, the section 176(3) of Bharatiya Nagrik Suraksha Sanhita 2023 mandate that the forensic expert will visit mandatorily the scene of crime of those cases which have punishment of 7 years or more. That means the heinous crime must be mandatorily visited by the forensic expert. This will add the value to the investigation, particularly the scientific investigation will be ensured. By this enactment or by this provision of law, the transparency, the fairness, the scientific validity of investigation will be ensured. In my opinion, it is a very, very welcome step, and as a police officer, I must say that this will definitely transform the quality of investigation and ultimately help to ensure perfect and flawless justice.
One thing I want to know, the practical aspects of investigation. Are we ready? Because see, the law has been made, but they say in the sense proof of the pudding is in the eating. So if that is said, then are we ready with infrastructure all over India so that this law can be implemented as envisioned by the lawmaker?
Yeah, this is a very, very important and very relevant question, because everybody dream that forensic science should be utilized, and it is not that only this law has introduced forensic science. Probably our Evidence Act as old as 1872, section 45 to 51 had the provision of expert opinion. So it is, I think, 150-year-old paradigm. What is the difference? Difference is that now it is mandatory. Earlier it was optional to the police officers, right? So earlier, in very selective cases, on the sweet will of police officer, the evidence were collected. It was not mandatory. So the facility of forensic laboratory, quality expert were still wanting at that point of time. Now, as this new law has mandated that it is compulsory, certainly, so multifold facility is required. In my opinion, I think India has developed very good education system, like NFSU, National Forensic Science University in Gandhinagar is already serving the nation since last about 14-15 years. Our own institute, which has also been initiated last year in Uttar Pradesh, named Uttar Pradesh State Institute of Forensic Science, we are also committed to give world-class education in forensic science, legal studies and all. So I think in the years to come, there are many other institutions. At present, we have nearly 20,000 forensic experts. But as per Government of India statistics, nearly 32,000 forensic experts are required as on date.
As of today.
As of today. Yeah. So this is a very important thing, but the good thing in the law itself, it has given the space of 5 years to implement. I believe and I strongly consider that with the vision of the government and the intention to invest, if it is there, these two things, because it needs huge funding, the government is committed to provide. With this, I think in 5 years the system should be in place.
I want to know one more thing from you, that it is one thing to have forensic experts, they sit in the labs, but investigation, scene of crime protection is done by police officer. So are the police trained, and after this introduction of these 3 new laws, what will the police need to be trained in? Are they ready today? Because you only said in your previous answer, it is at the sweet will of the police officer whether to go in for forensic your investigation or not. Now it's mandatory. So police officers who are not used to it, where do we lack? What we will need to do so that the law can be implemented as envisioned by the lawmaker?
Very good question, and the answer for this is already taken care of by the parliament. The section 176 says that it is not the police officer alone. It will take forensic expert to the scene of crime.
They will also go.
Yes, so that is the word is actually forensic expert. So now every police station must have at least one forensic expert posted there. So this is the new requirement.
But does it mean that every police station in the country will have recruitment?
Yes, the process is on. Even in our UP government, they are recruiting. I have met the Home Secretary of Maharashtra and many more our batchmates. They are in the process of either hiring or somehow they will be placing, because it is the demand, it is the necessity of the law. So now there is no choice but to put it.
Now, historically, there have been a lot of questions on the use of forensic evidence. What I would want to know is that many times it is said that forensic evidence also can be tampered with. What are the risks involved and what we need to be aware of and act? What are the actions that need to be taken?
Yeah, I think we have to split this question of tampering or manipulation or something like that in 2 parts. One is basically crime scene management.
Okay.
Suppose before police goes and somebody has tampered it, so that is difficult to repair.
Right.
Okay, so this is one part, but police has to find out whether there is any chance of tampering. So this is the very foremost question to be recorded on paper, that what was the scenario of scene of crime when the first response to police was encountered, scene of crime. So this is point 1. This is the onerous duty of police officer. Secondly, that there may be a possibility that some black sheep in the police may also be part of manipulation or tampering or something. This is the second point. Third point here is that if police does not know properly, and I think to come to this point only, that is why the forensic expert has been introduced to the police station, so that there should be no chance of mismanagement of the sample. Otherwise, what was happening earlier, suppose the policeman has collected the blood-soaked clothes. They were not knowing that the protocol, the SOPs, they were not knowing, and if they were having, they were not following, right? So they were just putting it in any polythene bag, putting it in some car or something, having higher temperature and all, and they get compromised, disturbed. DNA may not be extracted because of depletion and all. So these type of things will be taken care of by an expert. So crime scene management is very important part. The second part is at the laboratory. So at laboratory also the chances of manipulations are there. So what to do about it is the chain of custody.
Okay. So what is the chain of custody?
Yeah, this is very, very important part. Basically, chain of custody maintains the righteousness, the originality. It actually control any kind of mischief or manipulation into it. There is a form actually for chain of custody, and the beauty of chain of custody is that suppose the defense lawyer, if he successfully say that chain of custody has been broken, the chain of custody has not been maintained, that means the sample is compromised, sample is manipulated, and your report value is 0. So chain of custody is the most important part of sampling, right? This same thing is also maintained in laboratory, because what it means that how many hands it changed. Suppose the sample has been collected by X person, including now forensic expert. He will write that I have collected this and this sample from this place, and they will take photograph, videography.
Yes.
Okay, and then it will go to police station. So there also they will sign that that sample has been placed in Malkhana. Then it will be referred or forwarded to the laboratory. Then this form will be signed that okay, now it has gone to this place. Then the laboratory will accept that and they will receive it. So this is a chain of movement of the sample from A place to B, B to C, and to the end of the lab. And then lab has the second chain of custody form. So that is how they maintain the chain of custody. This is the most important document.
See, in many times in news you would know that it is said that the forensic evidence has been rendered useless, as in it's been 2 years and the test result has not come, or it is 18 months. So the reliability comes into suspicion because it is now 1.5 years old. What is the veracity after such a long time? Do you think time has a role to play in forensic evidence?
Well, I think we have to take this question that with time, can sample be compromised?
Oh, okay.
Not compromised by changing, but compromised by its constituent.
Okay.
Right? So this is, it will depend actually from sample to sample. Say for example, it is fingerprint. So if it is properly being protected, there is no moisture, there is no some damping or something, then even if 10 years it will not be disturbed.
No.
No. Likewise, in say for example some cloth which has some biological material, maybe semen, maybe blood, maybe saliva, anything. But if it is not properly dry, right? Or suppose it was dry, but because of some moisture or some other reason, the sample get compromised. So it will not be a thumb rule for, so it will depend actually case to case. And they have to prove that because of passage of time, how it got deteriorated.
One thing that everyone wants to know when they look at forensic and the use of forensic is the fear of forensic being planted. Now, time and again advocates in court will say that the evidence has been planted. Now, evidence planting also happens in traditional methods, which is ocular evidence based. Is it possible that evidence can be planted forensically, which is, then when you do a test it shows, but then that evidence was planted? What is the risk and then what is the solution? Is there a solution? Because you say that forensic evidence will prove things beyond doubt. Now there have been incidences where hair or semen has been planted. Now if that is done, a person is guilty, but then he may not be because that was planted. What is the risk?
Yeah, this question is very pertinent, and we have to find the solution of this problem. There are chances.
There are chances.
Yes, there are chances at different stages. As I said, that suppose before intimating the police or sending the information to police station, somebody has planted before reaching the police at scene of crime.
Yes.
So that may be one possibility.
Very dangerous.
That is very dangerous. Suppose somebody got some biological material of a man.
Yes.
And if some female actually planted that biological material, maybe blood, maybe semen or something, or even hair or some other biological material, then that kind of possibility is there.
But
right? This is one. Then another comes once the police reach there.
Yes.
Then another comes that with the connivance of police. The manipulation are there.
Even that is the risk.
That is a risk. The third one is at the level of laboratory. So here what are the possibility of controlling them, or you can say precaution. So one is the chain of custody. Second is the sampling. Now there are sampling material which are tamper proof. The sample are being collected properly and they are being wrapped in such a bags, right? They cannot be modified.
If I were to intervene here and ask you that does forensic evidence would need to be supported by circumstantial evidence for perfect prosecution?
Yes, it is basically secondary evidence. It is a corroborative evidence. It itself it does not have the status of primary evidence.
Okay.
So therefore the purpose of corroboration.
Yes.
And secondly, it is opinion based evidence. So it is the sweet will, or I don't say sweet will of course,
But there is a certain discretion.
Certain discretion, and court is not bound to accept the forensic opinion or expert opinion per se. He has to evaluate that whether this opinion has all standards being followed, the accreditation of lab, the qualification of expert, the experience of expert who has been conducted. So there are so many check and balances actually in the system, and then only the expert opinion is being accepted. I am a strong supporter of forensic science, forensic expert opinion, but I do believe strongly that we should not blindly accept forensic evidence. We have to be very cautious, and I request our honorable judges at different stages that don't think that the forensic expert opinion is a gospel truth. Science may not lie, right? But the man behind science, man behind the forensic expert opinion, or man who is conducting the sample analysis, or man who is collecting the sample, they are human being, and their conduct is as possible as anything to manipulate, to have mischief and all. So expert opinion is a very good tool, but has to be used with high precautions.
One thing that comes to my mind is when you were speaking, I realized all cases first go to the district judiciary. These are also young judicial officers mainly. Are they also need some training? Do they need training to appreciate this evidence?
This is very, very pertinent question. And in fact, I must say with pride that our institute, UPSF Lucknow, has thought a very new concept for interdisciplinary approach in education of forensic science as well as law. We have introduced legal education with the caption Law with Labs. This is our UPSF Lucknow concept. Globally, this is a unique concept. Why? We have thought that the legal expert, they may be tomorrow lawyer, they may be prosecutor, they may be judge, they may be police officers. So they may be part of anywhere as the actor of criminal justice system. So what we are providing, in addition to their legal study, we are giving hands-on training to them on all aspects of forensic science. Like they will be conducting DNA in the laboratory, like our forensic experts. They will be extracting digital evidence. They must be knowing what is EMI, what is hash value, and how things should be done ideally. So with this training, they will be the complete package. Now I think whether it is police, prosecutor, defense lawyer, judges at different stages, everybody need to have full understanding. I am not saying that they will be forensic expert, but they should know the nuances of forensic science. So this needs a kind of paradigm shift in pedagogy of legal studies. That is what I propose.
Point very well taken. Now the thing is, you are saying that judges also would need training to appreciate this evidence. One more question comes to my mind. You come from Uttar Pradesh, as in your cadre is Uttar Pradesh. You have a big institute there. The Uttar Pradesh police may also have a much larger budget because it's a large state. There are areas in northeast or there are other states that may not have a forensic infrastructure, zero. At this date it may be zero. What are the challenges in those states? Because the law is already enforced, but they don't have infrastructure as of today. So do you think that it will take 1 or 2 years for this to be fully implemented?
I don't think, Tarun, that no state is there where they don't have no infrastructure. Maybe they may be at 25% requirement, maybe 40, 60 like that. But every state has some facility or something, right? Now the law 176 part 3 of section BNSS has already given 5-year time to implement.
5 years?
5 years. It is already written in the law.
Okay.
So this 5-year cushion is there.
So capacity building.
Yeah, for the purpose of capacity building. Third is basically the lawyers, the judges, they are not expected to go to laboratory but they should have fair idea. So I think if we have some online courses, and
Yes.
which we are also trying,
Yes.
and there are other institute also. So I request the forensic, institutes which are providing education, they should think to build online courses. Maybe they may be having some classes, maybe Sunday, Saturday for 1 hour, 2 hour type, and even the online, plan or some kind of application may be provided. So those type of information can definitely build your, understanding of forensic science, and that will slowly and gradually will educate our all stakeholders, and that is the need of the hour.
One thing I want to know, do the states have enough budget as of today for implementing this, or because they say generally, in India for legal apparatus, budget is a constraint, and many states are already constrained on budgets. Do you think financing is something that will need to be prioritized for this?
I think it is very, very important, and in my opinion, with my means like now nearly 3 decades of service, public service, including police, I must say that budget is a requirement, but budget is not that constraint many a times as the willpower.
Yes.
I think our planning must be there, and we have modernization budget also.
Right.
So lot of things we can do here in the modernization budget. Police has modernization budget, all states have.
Right.
So I think we have to manage our budget in such a manner. And secondly, lot of institutions, this is another point which I learnt being the vice chancellor or the director of this institute,
Yes.
that lot of scientific institutions are there. They provide lot of apparatus, lot of instruments
To
on
the
higher
enforcement
basis.
agencies.
On higher basis.
Okay.
And the hiring is very low. The cost is very low. So I think those states which may not be having that much good quality of,
They can use.
they can use.
Okay.
So they should explore these type of facilities in their states.
It was interesting to talk to you today. Basically, the initial comments that you made gave us a huge, in fact, the chain of command, chain of custody, as you said. I correct myself. Then also you explained to us crime scene investigation, the protection of the scene of crime. We also discussed planting of evidence, which is a dangerous area that needs to be catered. You also shared with us how this is a supplementary evidence which needs to be confirmed by circumstantial evidence also. We will talk to you again on some other aspects of forensic law in the next show, but thank you for joining us on this one, and appreciate you sharing all these insights with us. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Tarun. I think it is a very, very important area you have touched today, and I shall be very happy to share more and more inputs and with examples. So I would love to come again to your show. Thank you very much once again for giving
Thank
me
you.
this
So
way.
that
Thank
was
you very
Dr.
much.
Goswami, who is heading the UP State Institute of Forensic Science. He's an IPS officer and somebody who's well known and regarded in the field of forensic law. He shared his expertise with us. We'll have him soon again on the show to discuss a lot more on the issue of forensic law, especially on the issue of forensics in property investigation, which is document forensics. That is also of interest to a lot of you watching the show. Appreciate your joining us. Thank you.